The principle of progression and regression are two of the main appraisal principles appraisers use to determine fair market value for a property. Hello everybody, it's Zach here from RealEstateLicenseWizard.com. Today I'm wearing a ridiculous shirt. I look like I'm in Jurassic Park, and today we're talking about the principle of progression and regression. We're going to talk about progression examples, regression examples, real estate appraisal, and more. And of course, what you need to know come exam day. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, so obviously we got to start with our definition. What is the principle of progression? Well, the principle of progression states that the value of a property increases when more valued properties are built in the area. The idea is that if your property is worth, let's say, $250,000 and is surrounded by $400,000 properties, its value will likely go up. Meaning, in plain terms, the value of a house increases when more valuable houses are built in the surrounding neighborhood. Now, the principle of progression is one of the many appraisal principles appraisers use to determine fair market value. Using the progression principle, comparable properties, market trends, and more, appraisers can accurately determine a fair price for properties. So let's do an example. Let's say your grandparents built a house in the 70s, and ever since then, slowly and steadily, other houses in the neighborhood were being built. New houses were built every so often for years until the community was filled with large, updated homes, except for your grandparents. While many people see this as a problem, a wise investor would look at this as an opportunity. If the surrounding neighborhood has properties worth more than you, your property value will go up. What's even more incredible is with some improvements, sometimes major or minor, your property can reach that value. That's the principle of progression. So now let's talk about progression and property values. How interconnected are they? Well, progression is a real estate principle that directly affects property values. Most people are aware of the appraisal principle, but not by the name. Still, as an agent or professional, you need to be aware of how it works, what it's called, and of course be aware of it come exam time. So what is the opposite of progression? Well, that's what I talked about a little bit earlier, regression. And of course, there's a principle for that. So what's the principle of regression? Well, the principle of regression states that the value of a property decreases when less valuable properties are built in the area. Like its counterpart, the principle of regression, if your property is worth $400,000 and is surrounded by $250,000 properties, its value will likely go down. Meaning, in plain terms, the value of a house decreases when less valuable houses are built in the surrounding neighborhood. Just like the principle of progression, the principle of regression is one of the many appraisal principles, again, appraisers use to determine fair market value. So let's do an example of a principle of regression. So the principle of regression comes up all the time in zoning. Frequently, zoning laws are designed to keep businesses and residential areas separate. When this does not occur, and let's say an undesirable business moves into a nicer part of town, people can get upset. Or maybe you own a modest house and your neighboring properties are not so modest. Maybe a group of wild college students move near you and the whole neighborhood turns into a party central. This obviously could put your property at risk for regression. So what do you need to know for the real estate exam? Well, when exam day comes, you need to be familiar with everything that we talked about today. Remember, the principle of progression and regression are two of the main appraisal principles appraisers use to determine fair market value for a property. Understand how both progression and regression exists, and you'll be good to go come exam day. Still need help with appraisal concepts and studying for your real estate exam? Click the video here for more and make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.